joining us today. This is Jerry Jones. I'm here with my good friend Tim Tebow, who I found loitering around the local churches here in Las Vegas. Listen up, y'all. If you want to make sure that you know everything you need to know about your property rights, pay attention to this video. If you don't care whether you have all the controls over your personal property, your house, your keys, hey, throw your keys away, X out the video and keep doing what you're doing. I'm sure the dishes need to be washed. There's a whole lot more things that are more important than your housing rights. But listen up. Got a hugely important topic. San Bernardino, the city of San Bernardino, talked about recently contemplating some changes in how they can acquire personal property rights for what some would consider noble purposes. So we're going to talk about that today. But listen up. You need to understand what all this means and how it will pertain to you. I heard a really interesting quote recently that had to do with if you have a nation full of sheep, then don't be shocked when the wolves come around. And we're a nation full of sheep, and we are more important and more concerned. We prioritize things, and when real issues come across the table, we pass it off and we worry about pop culture and Tim Tebow, right? Which is cool. You know, I like Tebow every once in a while, but you know what? There's more important things than that. You agree, Tim? Tim, this is Tim, by the way. Tim was at a church recently in Las Vegas. He packed the place out.
You may think that this is a comedy show, but it's not.
This is serious.
This is serious.
This is real serious.
But he is pretty funny.
Yes, yes.
But in all seriousness, my name is Jeff Wusinich with First California Mortgage.
Wusinich. How do you say that?
Wusinich. That's how you say it.
Wusinich.
Yeah, you say it. Wusinich.
Wusinich.
Yes.
Is it che?
It's with the che.
Do you have an e? Is there a vowel at the end?
No, it's silent.
Silent.
Is it's Wusinich.
Wusinich. What is that? Swedish?
Serbian.
Serbian. Interesting. That's scary.
Interesting.
Scary. That explains a lot. So, did you change your name, Tim, when you came to the Valley?
I did.
Was there a reason that you had to?
It's
something that happened in Vegas, had to stay in Vegas, so you went to some complicated name like Jeff Wusinich?
It's an alias, and you just killed it.
It's an alias. Oh, shoot. Well, I think you're doing a great job.
Hey, thanks.
Today, I was delighted to meet Tim, and Tebow told me specifically, that's you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you changed. You have a name, an alias. Okay?
AKA.
An AKA. Yes, yes. And it turns out that Tim became a lender in Vegas, and he knows a lot about finance. In fact, I was blown away by how much he knows. But speaking to the subject of San Bernardino, I gather he did a lot of research on that recently. And for all of you who don't know, the topic in California and San Bernardino City has to do with what's known as eminent domain. And eminent domain is the government's, specifically it's statutes for the states that allows the state to pursue public property for uses that would be considered public use. So some of the most common things that I think of when I think of eminent domain for public use is the government might come and try and negotiate with you over your property for utilities. You know, they want to run power, water, gas through your property so that the neighbors down the street can then supply their homes and their iPads will work and all the other stuff. So that's a good public use concept, right? So then you have expansion of freeways, right? Mm-hmm. Some of the poor fortunate folks who live in like LA County who were on the back roads, and all of a sudden the 8-lane 708 runs through their freaking front yard.
Actually happened to us here with the 95 too.
Yeah, absolutely. We went to 18 lanes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we could supply all the strip.
17.5.
Yes. And I can get to the strip now in about 3 minutes flat. Yeah.
Well, it worked then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to go below 90
use,
with 18 lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but I don't speed. I don't confess that online. It's a parking ticket. Yeah, it's a little trick my attorney does. Anyways, you know what? With eminent domain, public determines use. They find that they have interest in your property. They attempt to negotiate with you generally up front. They're going to come to you, knock on your door, say, hey, can we come to an agreement on this? If you tell them to pound sand, which is a nice way of saying beat it, you might then find that they go into court and try to run an action against you to pursue what's known as condemnation. Most folks know eminent domain in the sense of condemning something, right? That's a public domain process or an eminent domain process. So we have this issue now in San Bernardino City, and it's being considered, and it's important that you pay attention because it's something that will catch fire. It's something that will be considered in other states. Tebow, if I'm not mistaken, they're considering it in other cities already.
Yeah, the city of Chicago actually is examining it, and so if it catches fire there and works, you may see this on a nationwide level.
The way I understand it is we're not just talking about the public in San Bernardino or Chicago taking concern over personal property for the use of a freeway or utilities. Tell us about that.
So what's going on is there's a company called Mortgage Resolution Partners out of San Francisco that has this proposal into the city of San Bernardino for the city to use its eminent domain powers to take mortgages from banks. And what they'll do is they will give the bank, their goal is to give the bank 75 to 80% of what the current value of the house is, current value of the property is, in exchange for this mortgage. So what that means is if you owe $200,000 and your house is worth $100,000, they're looking to give the bank $75,000 to $80,000 and take the mortgage, and then in turn refinance the mortgage holder. Mortgage Resolution Partners, of course, will get a fee. There will be fees to people paid, and then refinance the homeowner to 97.75% of their value, which is pretty much an FHA program through municipal funds. So that's kind of the broad spectrum of what's going on. They're pretty much going to take the mortgage away from the bank. Gotcha. And refinance it to bring it down to current value of the property.
I'm interested in a couple aspects of this. First of all, in a typical eminent domain process, the bank comes to your house, knocks on the public source, the government comes and knocks on the door, so to speak, looks at the home, whether you comply with them or they go through the court process, they establish a fair value for the home. As Jeff just described, this is a process that will go 75-80% of value. Eminent domain generally goes in and actually establishes a full market value and then pays if you have a lien on your home. Like, for instance, if you owe the mortgage holder, the government negotiates with you, pays for the space they're taking or all of it, or however they negotiated your land. And then you pay your mortgage company, and then proceeds after the mortgage is paid go to you. So in this instance, what you're doing is you're having this mortgage solution provider trying to get with the city to come in and negotiate mortgages. Now, the mortgages they're negotiating, are these mortgages that are delinquent, far behind, or are these mortgages that are current?
Currently, they're only going after current mortgages that are not in arrears. That's part of their plan, which, to your point, is part of what they're creating, part of the problem that you're talking about, public use and fair value and the things that eminent domain provides for, is part of what the argument is there, that by selecting certain mortgages and not giving it to the whole, you are not serving the public. You're only serving a select few.
Gotcha. Well, it's interesting, like in this case, you have a mortgage that in the same, you just gave terms of, it's worth today $100,000, and the negotiation for eminent domain goes in at $75,000 to $80,000 on a $100,000 value, and this is a good paid mortgage is being paid current, and you have a home that was probably bought at $180,000 that the investor funded. Let's say the investor came in and said, I'll give you $175,000 or $180,000 so you can have this house, and the guy's paying the mortgage, and then we're coming in at $75,000 and $80,000 to pay the investor back, and he's it looks like an eminent domain proceeding is almost like a forced process of possession. We could take this guy who invested in the mortgage, or gal or lady, whoever it is, and then kind of force a loss of $100,000. Is that kind of the premise?
That's exactly right. And it's the mortgages that they are targeting are private money mortgages, which is before the market dried up in 2007, 2008, 30% of our market was privately backed mortgage securities. Now it's less than 1%. But the private mortgages, private mortgage holders, the bond market, these are the people that are going to be basically SOL, and it's exactly what they're doing. They're just coming in, they're saying, we're going to give you this much, you're going to take it, and thank you.
That's incredible.
And so it's important to, when talking about eminent domain, examine who the winners and the losers and what the
absolutely, bring that up,
are, in the part of the whole process. And
losers we've established, obviously, some guy who 5 years ago threw his IRA at a mortgage trust deed and funded this mortgage, and he's going to take a short on the deal. A definite loser. Who else would you balance as winners and losers here?
Well, I mean, obviously the homeowner is one of the winners. The argument, you have the definite winner, who's the homeowner, who's going to get a
because
new
we right-size their house.
Right. You have a definite loser, who is the end mortgage bond holder, and then you have the theoretical winners and losers. Winners here, obviously, the company who's going to be going through this process and helping the municipalities, mortgage resolution partners. They're going to be charging a flat fee of $4,500 per mortgage, and they're targeting, I think right now it's about 3,200 mortgages. So multiply that times 4,500, they're going to win. The municipalities are going to win because they're only giving 75 to 80%. They're going to refinance the client at 97.75%.
So while I think that there might be noble efforts to make corrections here, even though this party that that we're trying to deal with, this eminent domain issue, is an unpopular party, the mortgage companies, I still feel like it's reaching just a little bit. What do you think?
Well, your comment to say, are they getting basically
a haircut?
Yeah, are they taking a haircut? Just depends on what they're actually into the mortgage for. Because, for lack of a better term, the mortgage holder, the actual investor that owns the mortgage, may not own that $100,000 mortgage. They may not have $100,000 in it. They may have obtained that mortgage for $40,000 or $30,000 or $50,000, given the market that we're in and all the recent bank failures and the way that the mortgages have transferred down the line and their values. So does the mortgage holder really even take a haircut? We don't know. They may be getting compensated what they've paid plus. So keep in mind that not just because your note says you owe $100,000 doesn't mean that the person who you're paying paid $100,000 for your note.
Right. Tebow, I feel like for me, this lacks eminent domain argument when there's a challenge of market value and things of that nature. When there's a chance down the future of potential equity, the mortgages are being, the target of these talks were mortgages that are current. And so then you have a person who has an investment on the table that they're backing the mortgage, that potentially the value could go up, and that's favorable to them. And so, I feel like the eminent domain side of that gets challenged when the value is not there. I also think that the public, the issue that you're using eminent domain to take property for public use, this isn't taking property for public use. They're trying to accommodate a discussion of seizure. To me, it's more of a seizing of property, in my opinion. And this is my opinion, but for me, that is crazy. I mean, I think the fact that this is in discussion in closed doors is mind-boggling. That we have representatives, when you consider property rights, I think the constitutionality of this would be challenged.
Well, I definitely think there's challenges, and I don't think that all the details of the plan have been revealed, as these talks went into in secret, and the fact that we know about it is by accident, not on purpose. So, there are definite challenges, and we can argue all day. It's all opinion.
Right.
Whether or not it's going to be public use is going to be, they're going to try to formulate some public benefit for doing this. I mean, other than just benefiting the select homeowners that they select. But what is that going to be? We don't know, because the powers that be have not revealed that to us yet, how they plan on attacking that. Now, you can attack a plan without knowing all of the plan's specifics all day long.
Sure, absolutely.
But I can't imagine that these people are actually behind closed doors not thinking about these issues.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm saying using eminent domain as a vehicle to solve a problem. I mean, it's crazy. Eminent domain by philosophy is someone from the government negotiates with a homeowner. And if a homeowner wants to, negotiate in good faith with the government, they're usually on the side of, this is my home, I want top dollar for it, for whatever reasonable purpose you're trying to negotiate with me on. But if I'm a homeowner that is underwater and the government comes to me and says, hey, you owe 180, but we're gonna give you 75, and you as a homeowner, in your mind, let's say that that's low, how is the homeowner gonna negotiate in good faith situation with the government going, yeah, you know what? Yeah, 75 sounds good.
You mean
Let's
the bond
do the deal.
holder? You mean the mortgage?
No, the actual. I would think
the homeowner is not negotiating anything.
So you're actually, the principle is that they're going to go right past the homeowner and start negotiating with the lien holder of the property, the mortgage company.
Speaking, coaching, investment advice, one-on-one consultation, list your home. info@horizonreg.com or click below. Think big and get after it. See you later.